The evening began like any other in the small town where the Ramirez family lived. The weather was calm, and the sky was turning orange as the sun slowly disappeared behind the hills. Inside their home, 12-year-old Lucas sat at the dining table, finishing his homework. His mother, Maria, stood in the kitchen preparing dinner, and his father, Daniel, was expected to return from work at any moment. Their life was simple, filled with struggles and hopes, but they held on to each other with love. Daniel worked long shifts at a construction site. He was a tired man most days, but he made sure to return home with a smile, even when his muscles ached from the heavy work. On that particular evening, he stopped at a small store on his way home to buy a bag of rice that Maria had asked for earlier. The drive from the store to his house was only 10 minutes, a straight road he had traveled thousands of times. He never imagined that those 10 minutes would change everything. A few miles away, a man named Victor stumbled out of a noisy bar. His friends had tried to stop him from driving, but he pushed them away, insisting he was perfectly fine. His speech was slurred, his steps unsteady, but his pride was stronger than his judgment. He fumbled for his keys, dropped them once, cursed under his breath, and climbed into his truck. Instead of taking a moment to think about the danger, he turned on the engine and pulled out onto the main road. Back at the Ramirez home, Maria glanced at the clock on the wall. Daniel was usually home by now. She tried to push the worry out of her mind. It wasn't unusual for him to be late, especially if traffic was heavy or the store line was long. Lucas asked when his father was coming home, but she smiled and told him, "Any minute now." Daniel drove slowly, enjoying the breeze from his open window. He thought about the weekend ahead. He had promised Lucas that they would go fishing. The thought made him smile. It had been months since he spent a full day with his son, and he was looking forward to it. His mind drifted to Maria, and he felt grateful for her patience and strength. He tightened his grip on the steering wheel, excited to get home. On the other side of the road, Victor's truck swerved slightly from side to side. He blinked hard, trying to keep his focus on the road, but the alcohol blurred his vision. He turned up the radio, thinking louder music would help him stay awake. Instead, it only made his mind foggier. The truck drifted across the lane lines, and he didn't even notice. As Daniel approached a small bend in the road, he saw headlights coming toward him, fast, too fast. At first, he assumed the driver was simply careless. It wasn't uncommon. But then the headlights suddenly crossed into his lane. Daniel's heart jumped. He tried to turn the wheel to avoid the oncoming truck, but there was no space, no time, no warning. Everything happened in a few seconds that felt like a lifetime. Maria was setting the table when her phone rang. She wiped her hands on a towel and picked it up. The number on the screen was unfamiliar. "Confused and curious," she answered. The voice on the other end was calm, but serious. It belonged to a police officer. He asked her name. He asked if she was Daniel's wife. Her heart sank before he even finished the sentence. She felt her knees weaken as the officer explained that Daniel had been in an accident and that she needed to come to the hospital immediately. Lucas looked at her face and instantly knew something was wrong. She tried to keep her voice steady, but her hands shook. She told Lucas to get his shoes and get in the car. They rushed to the hospital, Maria praying silently the whole way, begging God to keep Daniel safe. The hospital was bright and cold, filled with nurses moving quickly and families waiting with fear in their eyes. A doctor approached them. His expression was gentle, but Maria could see the heaviness behind it. He explained that Daniel had suffered serious injuries. He explained that they did everything they could. He explained that he didn't make it. Maria felt the world collapse around her. Her legs gave out, and she fell to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Lucas cried too, confused and terrified. The doctor tried to comfort them, but nothing could ease the pain. Their world had changed in a single moment, a moment caused by a drunk driver who never should have been on the road. News of the accident spread quickly through the town. Neighbors arrived to comfort Maria and Lucas. Some brought food, others offered prayers, but nothing could fill the silence Daniel left behind. Lucas sat on the couch, staring at the empty chair where his father usually sat. He remembered their fishing plans, their jokes, their late-night talks. Now, all he had were memories that hurt more than they comforted. The police arrested Victor at the scene. He survived with only minor injuries, but the weight of what he had done crushed him. When he learned that Daniel had died, he broke down in disbelief. He kept repeating, "I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to." But those words meant nothing. His choices had destroyed a family. Maria struggled to accept reality. Nights were the hardest. She would lie awake, unable to sleep, replaying the phone call, the drive to the hospital, the doctor's words. Each memory felt like a wound reopening. She tried to be strong for Lucas, but some days she could hardly breathe. One afternoon, a few weeks after the accident, Maria sat on the porch, the wind blowing softly through the trees. A neighbor came by with a letter. She said it was from Victor's family. At first, Maria didn't want to read it, but curiosity overpowered her pain. The letter was filled with apologies, with words of regret and sorrow. His family expressed their heartbreak and asked for forgiveness, not for Victor, but for themselves, knowing nothing could undo what happened. Maria cried while reading it. She wasn't ready to forgive, and maybe she never would be. But she understood one thing clearly. The impact of drunk driving didn't just destroy one family. It destroyed many. Everyone suffered. Lucas struggled too. He became quiet, distant. He missed his father deeply. One day at school, during a counseling session, he finally spoke about his feelings. He said he was angry at Victor, angry at the world, angry at the unfairness of it all. The counselor told him it was okay to feel that way, and little by little, he began to open up. Healing was slow, but it had to begin somewhere. Months passed. Maria started working again, trying to rebuild the pieces of her life. She still visited Daniel's grave every Sunday. She talked to him, telling him about Lucas, about her struggles, about her hopes. She cried often, but sometimes she smiled too, remembering the good moments they had shared. Victor remained in jail, awaiting sentencing. He spent every day thinking about the life he had taken. His guilt consumed him. He knew that no punishment could compare to the suffering he caused, but he hoped that someday Maria and Lucas might find peace, even if they never forgave him. The Ramirez home was never the same again. The laughter that once filled their evenings was quieter. The absence of Daniel's voice echoed in every room. But slowly, the broken pieces of their hearts began to shape themselves into something new, a life touched by tragedy, but still moving forward. Lucas grew more mature, more thoughtful. He made a promise to himself that he would never let anyone he loved get into a car with a drunk driver. Maria joined a local awareness group, sharing Daniel's story with others in hopes of saving even one life. Her voice trembled each time she spoke, but she knew her message mattered. Because the truth was simple and painful. One person's bad choice had destroyed a family that had done nothing wrong, and the world needed to hear it. The moral of this story is clear. Alcohol and driving never mix. A moment of carelessness can take away a life, break a family, and leave behind scars that never fully heal. If you choose to drink, choose not to drive. The life you save may be someone else's or your own.